Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of M365 Voice. My name is Sarah Hazy.
And I am Mike Marani.
And I'm Antonia Maya.
And we're back again. And it is still early. It's still February 2025, which is relevant because we're going to do a different kind of an episode that we haven't talked about recently. I wanted to have a discussion with you both about how we engage with other Microsoft 365 community people. How do we learn more about the products? How do we connect and find out news that's relevant to the Microsoft 365 space? And what social platforms we're using in 2025? And I'm interested in hearing your thoughts because I've got some different things that I'm thinking about trying this year.
Okay. Definitely the social media platforms have shifted recently since the past decade or so. I personally used to have multiple ones, and I'm just focusing on a couple, and then getting some information from those platforms. I used to go into multiple places to get information or to communicate with other community members, and now I'm just focusing only on a couple of places that I'm pretty much every day on them. And I dropped a few others as well. Just basically, the landscape has changed, the interest has changed from my perspective, and many others as well. So, yeah, things have shifted quite a bit for the past year or so.
And Mike, what are those platforms that you focus on mainly?
Mostly LinkedIn right now. I used to do less posts on LinkedIn, more posts on X. And I've shifted drastically to drop X pretty much 99% and LinkedIn. And I'm trying to get more onto the Instagram, but more on the personal side rather than the professional side. But I'm seeing a lot of promotions on Instagram as well when it comes to the M365 world or the professional life of friends I have.
How about you, Antonio?
I'm mostly focused on LinkedIn. So like Mike said, the social media platforms I engage on have shifted a lot over the last 10 years. It used to be mostly blogging, to be honest, people's blogs. I knew whose blogs I liked, and I would go to them fairly regularly. I had my own blog, like we all do, and still have that, but a little less there and much more focused on LinkedIn. Instagram, I find for me, is mostly ads and silly things. I'm on there a little bit. I don't really post today. I mostly get skydiving videos, to be honest, on LinkedIn. On Instagram, which is weird. But I would say LinkedIn primarily. I was on X/Twitter for a while, for a good number of years, and then just recently have not gone onto it very much at all.
Yeah, I think that even for this podcast, I know that we have tended to release our episodes in a few different ways. Of course, you can find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. Yeah. But we also used to post it on X or Twitter all the time and LinkedIn. And I used to blog about the different episodes with a bigger, longer blog article. X or Twitter, I'm this close to just deleting my account entirely. I don't post on it. I rarely open up the app. I'm really looking to divorce myself from it. LinkedIn, I think, is still a great platform, but I'm thinking about changing blogging. So all thrry of us have blogs, right? And if I'm going to think about the kinds of things that we tend to blog, my blog, splibrarian.com, I have tended to do kind of one page, maybe 3 to 6, 7 paragraphs article. Antonio, I know that you've done much longer blog post, like your blog posts are like a PhD program in whatever purview topics or other topics that you're going into. Would you agree?
I do agree. It's hard for me to write short blogs to the point. It's much easier for me to write a really long blog, but I have learned over time that how consumable your blogs are is important, right? The 2,000 word multi-page PhD thesis blogs, almost nobody reads. very small number of people actually read the entire thing.
Or they scan it looking for the bullet points or the words in bold.
Exactly. And I find that if you are going to blog, the most effective blogs that actually cover material, it's probably somewhere between 500 and 800 words, somewhere in that range, where if you want to get into, any kind of depth on any topic, you kind of need a bit of that. But I think what you're talking about, Sarah, is kind of microblogging or, much smaller blogs.
I'm thinking about, even for trying for our M365 voice episodes, I am thinking about basically starting to use my professional blog about Microsoft products in the way that I used to use Twitter. So basically creating very short microblog episode or articles that are very short and sweet and to the point, and just being able to churn out a lot more of them, even where I could dictate some of them onto my phone. I use WordPress, but dictating them onto my WordPress app and then publishing. So more often, but much less text. Do you think that would be effective to share Microsoft ideas or thoughts?
I think so. Because I'm in the same way that I've reduced blogging to probably reduce it by 99%. And it went down from having a lot of technical blogs into starting to talk about in general, and more talking about announcements and new features and Ignite recaps and things like this. And now it's pretty much nothing. And then your idea fits well with our topics, because our topic is technically, they are generic topics. We don't do a deep dive technically into a specific topic at all. So those microblogging will help really well.
Like, I remember some of your posts, Sarah, like, if this is what you're thinking, I thought they were very effective, where you had like a sentence or two, and then you'd have like checkmark icon,
exactly.
Thing, checkmark icon, thing, checkmark icon, thing, and then maybe a little closing sentence. Like, I think when some of the posts you did for our episodes on LinkedIn that had that, I thought that was really effective, because it gave you a really quick scan of what we're going to cover in the episode.
Yep. And then if people want to hear about those, then they can have a bullet, a scannable list, and then it's worth their time to go and click into the YouTube episode and listen in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think those are very effective.
At what point are we going to start leveraging Copilot to create an initial list of bullets that then we can customize from there?
Yeah.
Very true. And I think people really don't want to see a lot of long blog posts. And they only go to the long blog post if they're looking for technical answers, and they can see that on learn.microsoft.com.
Yeah.
So even the audience attention had shifted from technical blogs from a personal perspective into just a generic short microbloggings or videos or audio podcasts or anything like that.
That is... You bring up a good point, Mike. Like, I found blogging became challenging after a while, because I felt like I was just repeating stuff on the Microsoft Learn articles.
Exactly.
Right. Which got very good. And I don't want to just repeat that using different words. So it felt a bit disingenuous to go blog about a thing because it was on the Microsoft Learn articles.
But if you take the idea that we were just talking about, and you take the Microsoft Learn article, link to it, and you say, here are the top 3 things that I loved about this. People might be interested in your opinion about the top 3 things, and then link to it.
Very much. Very much.
Very true.
What I did find over time is the Microsoft Learn articles, don't get me wrong, they're great. They go into a lot of good detail. They often don't include or don't put enough emphasis on the things that don't work, or the limitations on certain features, or the gotchas about certain features. And, fair point, Microsoft is trying to promote their feature, and in addition to provide documentation. So I do find sometimes blogs that deal with those exception areas are still useful, because you don't find that in the Learn article, and you only find that by going down the road of what it tells you to do and then tripping over something and learning from that. And sometimes it is helpful to blog about those things, because they help people to avoid those potholes.
Also, from a Learn articles perspective, if you're trying to deploy something and if it's pretty complicated, sometimes the flow in Learn is not very smooth. Sometimes it jumps all over the place. So if you really don't know how to do things and you're trying to follow the links, you'll get lost. So
It's
sometimes if
almost
you
like
come
you're
up,
saying you need an M365 Cliffs Notes version of the Learn documentation to kind of augment it like a sidebar.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
yeah.
Welcome
I
to
like-
a new theory for you to try out on your blog, Antonio. We are solving this brainstorming live.
Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give that a try. I do like your concept though of the smaller blogs with the bullet points. And when you use like nice icons to highlight them, it's attractive to the eye, right? It attracts people to it.
Mhm.
It's a quick scan. I find it's better than just words and paragraphs because a lot of us don't have time to read a deep, detailed blog anymore. We just have so many things hitting us all the time that scanning something becomes kind of our regular way of life. So
Very
if
true.
we can highlight the important points in a few attractive looking bullets, it just creates a nicer experience for people to learn from.
100%.
Yeah. I do still like LinkedIn as a platform. I find it's less ads, less silly videos of people. Like you still find some of that, but a lot less than what I see on Instagram and other platforms. We do see new platforms coming about too, like Blue Sky. I don't know if you guys have tried it. I have not yet, but
I'm on it, but I have an account, but I don't use it much. I see it similar to X, and I kind of shifted from that kind of type of platform into LinkedIn and more and Instagram. So I'm there, but I barely go on it. When I go, I see some activities. I don't have a lot of followers. I'm not following a lot of people, so it's probably that's also a reason maybe I'm not that interested in it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not seeing a lot of feed. But yeah, I haven't heard anything good or bad about it. So I don't know from the community perspective if they really loving it or it's still like, in between areas or which platform they want to go after X.
Yeah.
One thing I have noticed in the past, I'll say 6 to 9 months, is a lot of people using LinkedIn messages like text messaging. Like a lot more people who will just send, and it's not, and it can just be short messages, sentence fragments, like touching base on LinkedIn, even if they have my phone number and could text me. And that's been interesting because I think a lot more people spend time on LinkedIn every day.
For sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I used to never check my LinkedIn messages. Now I tend to check them fairly regularly because, like you said, Sarah, I do have people pinging me on it that I didn't expect would. Usually people would email me, but now it tends to be LinkedIn instead.
So that's a really good point that I recently, I think a month ago, I turned off the notifications on the LinkedIn messages. So I don't, because I'm getting a lot of ping on the LinkedIn messages. So I go on it like maybe twice a day just to double check things, but I don't want the constant notifications now.
Yeah. I've turned off notifications on almost everything because there's just too many apps that want to give you notifications, right? Just in our world, Teams notifications, text message notifications, LinkedIn, email wants to give you, like everything wants to give you a notification.
Yeah. No, same. I have turned off a lot of those from even displaying on my phone or on my iPad. So that way I don't feel bombarded by them.
Yeah, my internet-enabled bird feeder wants to send me notifications when a new bird comes. It literally does when a new bird comes to the bird feeder. It has a camera built into it.
Interesting.
You're a pretty interesting guy there, Antonio. I had no idea that this was a thing. You have expanded my world.
A friend of ours, Wes, recommended to me Bird Buddy, which is...
You mean Wes Preston?
Yes,
fellow
Wes
MVP.
Preston.
Bird Buddy. He has gotten a call out. We're going to have to give him a shout out on LinkedIn. And he's going to have to listen to this entire podcast episode to find where he has been featured.
Exactly. So Wes Preston is a champion of Bird Buddy, which is an internet-enabled bird feeder with a video camera built into it. And it has a solar panel on one side that powers the camera. And it has an app. It's internet enabled. It has an app. It literally sends me videos of new birds. It identifies the bird. It says, you have a new blue jay that's come to your...
So then you know what birds are flying by in your yard. Does it catch things? Because I'm shocked that he doesn't have an otter watcher because Wes has a pond he has built himself, and he
That's
has otters that come and
That's
eat his fish. I'm shocked that he doesn't have an otter watcher.
Yeah.
But this is a bird
It's a
feeder
bird
app.
feeder. Yes, Bird Buddy. And they're fabulous. Like, he recommended it to me. I went to the website, ordered it.
Wow.
They had it here quickly, very professional, like really nice build to the thing. Like, it's not just a little like was a really professional looking bird feeder and camera. It's very cool.
I feel like we need to offer some trivia contest for the oddest thing that we have talked about in a podcast episode. This is usually the stuff that happens before we record, and now
Yeah.
everyone's hearing it live.
Yes. But the way we got to this was notifications that it wants to send me about new birds.
Yes.
So,
Huh. All right.
Interesting.
Fascinating episode. I actually like this. I think that we should try a couple of new things related to sharing podcast episodes, and starting with this one, Mike. And let's see if we can actually generate some dialogue on the social platforms and try and get some feedback from others about what they think and how they would like to see information and notifications, or just information in a feed on what platform to know that we've released a new episode.
Love it.
it's a great idea.
So we'll try it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And we look forward to catching you on another episode.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.